The birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution from Code 591 Studios. We are the Bohemian Reformation. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempus and co-host Dale Rueber. I'm Jim Gillespie, and this is Jesup News for January 20th, 2025. Tonight we're sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. The Farrells are kind sponsors of this podcast. Include them in your wedding, graduation, and festival plans. Don't wait. Their schedule's filling up for 2025. We have two guests tonight from the Dollars for Scholars Committee. We have Angie Sabers and Mark Strabala. Welcome.
Jak se máš?
So thanks for reaching out to us there. I don't know how many people speak Czechoslovakian, but we'll see.
Jak se máš to all of our Bohemian brethren and sistren out there.
And Angie, I apologize for the glare, but there's nothing I can do about it.
So, with further ado, this is pretty neat. You guys asked to be on tonight, and I'm happy about that.
That's a first for us.
It is. We usually have to pursue people. Tell us about the 35th year of the Dollars for Scholars.
35 years. Okay.
All right. Well, it is my pleasure. Yes, as you said, Jesup Dollars for Scholars, we are celebrating our 35th anniversary this year. It will be celebrated the 1st of May, 2025, with an increased giving donation of scholarship. The amount will be $100,000, thanks to the generosity of our many donors, especially to Mr. Sparky DeRoe. Our Dollars for Scholars provides funds to seniors to help ease the financial burden of tuition if they choose to continue their education after graduation. And since 1990, the Jesup Dollars for Scholars program has awarded a total of $685,000.
Wow.
Many Jesup seniors apply for the scholarship support through this organization because we offer a convenient application form with the help of Jesup High School guidance counselor, Miss Kristen Bauer. She's a wonderful person. Mrs. Bauer has a Dollars for Scholars tab on her Jesup High School website, and on this website, eligible students can create an account and select the scholarships for which they are eligible. Then once the student is awarded the scholarship, the next step is for them to achieve a 2.5 GPA or higher as a full-time student during the first semester of their post-secondary education program, followed by submitting a copy of their transcript to the email jesupdollarsforscholars@gmail.com. The committee representative in turn will send the student a check for that scholarship amount payable to the student's college or university. So they get a semester of college under their belt, show that they are passing their classes, and then they receive their scholarship money. Dollars for Scholars originated in 1989-1990 with a $2,000 grant from the McElroy Trust Fund, which at the time was required to be matched for a $4,000 total scholarship fund. However, instead of raising $2,000, the first Jesup Dollars for Scholars Committee raised $12,000 to get things off to a successful start for the class of 1990. The original members of the Dollars for Scholars Committee included Albert Sparky DeRoe, Tom Youngblood, Kim Adams, Carol Rickliffs, and Lee Triplett. Their aim was to help Jesup graduates pursue an education beyond high school. Please join the current Dollars for Scholars Committee, along with the 2025 seniors, the class of 2025, as they celebrate 35 years of giving on Thursday, May 1st at 7 p.m. in the South Gymnasium at Jesup Community Schools. And the current board, Tom Youngblood is our president, Jim Vogel is our vice president, Angie Sabers is our treasurer, Lizzie Weber is our secretary, Serena Andrews is our chairperson of publicity and recognition. Other members include Ann Rigdon, Terry Shares, myself, Kathy Earls, and Kristen Bauer, our school counselor, and of course, Mr. Paul Ray, the Jesup High School principal. So, there's that spiel.
Yeah.
All right.
And Tom Youngblood has been on since the beginning, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
That seems an exception. So, So, Angie, we were talking before the show. You said you received a Dollars for Scholars scholarship. What year did you graduate?
99.
99.
Yep.
And do you remember who it was named for?
I don't remember.
It's hard. Yeah.
The only thing I also remember when my brother was in high school, they did a telethon. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they had a telethon, and I was at home watching them on cable television, in the old telephone days where you had the phone, you pick it up, you call in, and they were videoing all of that. So I was sitting at home watching as the money started rolling in, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember that. I think we did more than one telethon, but when your Bruce Erpel was there, and I think it was my daughter was interviewing him, or she was there. There had been a controversy in the class because they talked about hot dogs and the number of rat hairs that were permissible to be in it. So Bruce was sitting there talking, always, well, I have a rat hair in my tooth, And it was the funniest darn thing. So, but Bruce used to be real big. I remember he and I used to go to Walmart, and Walmart would have we would grill hot dogs and this sort of thing, and sell them in the parking lot there. And we went to visit them to set things up. We walked to the back of Walmart behind the swinging doors at the back, and there was an office there, and the door was open, and the desk in there was just stacked high with bills and checks and everything, just tons and tons of money. And I thought, isn't that something to let us just wander back here to talk with all that money sitting there? But I was just amazed. I suppose that was one day's receipt. I don't know how many, but it was just looked like thousands of dollars sitting there.
So you talked about, when you gave your spiel there, you talked about...
We mean spiel in the nicest way, too.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, he called it a spiel.
Well, did he really?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Well, it was his spiel, though, but we have to be more polite.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
information... Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Forgive me. So you said Miss Bowers has a tab on her website. What are some of the things that students can click on?
So I think what the process is she gets them, she helps starting mid-February. She'll start talking about the program with the students, and then kind of direct them out to the website. So they'll have to sign up through the website. And our chapter of the Jesup Dollars for Scholars goes through the National Dollars for Scholars. So we are kind of under that umbrella of the National Dollars for Scholars. So it's kind of their platform that we're using. So the students go and they sign up, and then they're able to browse through all of the different scholarships, and then go out and actually apply for them. So there's a lot of things through that website that they have to do in order to apply and then qualify for those. So from there, then the scholarships open up from March 1st, and then they close on March 14th. So the students have 2 solid weeks to go in and apply for the ones that they qualify for.
And what is all on the application?
I couldn't begin to tell you.
Yeah.
I've never had to apply, so I don't know what's on there.
I know a lot of it's about them, and they also have to get a letter of recommendation, or what do you call them, letter of reference or something.
Right.
I know a lot of the teachers get asked for those. So there's other things that they have to do as well, but it's a very, very easy process. Just basically inputting your information, inputting some of the things that you're involved in, I think, is what they have to do. So very easy process, and not a whole lot goes into it.
At one point, when I was on the committee, the students, if they didn't come to the Dollars for Scholars award night, they didn't receive their scholarship.
Correct.
Is
You
it
still have
still
to
that
go.
way?
Yep. We have the donors that come, and the donors are the ones that are presenting. So if you're not going to be there, kind of looks bad to the donors,
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you don't come, if you're not dressed appropriately, all of that kind of stuff goes into it. So
Right.
I've always been impressed how the scholarships, my daughter, her dad was a teacher up there, and then Kathy Schutte was a teacher. It was a Kathy Schutte scholarship. It kind of matched, The Swan and Rose scholarship would go to somebody that was interested in going into the construction program or this sort of thing, where it looked like people really tried to match people up as much as they could with a scholarship that was kind of
Geared
related
toward
to them or
toward
to
their
them.
wheelhouse.
Yeah, I always found that very interesting. Are most of the scholarships, are they all pretty much endowed now, or
we
do you
actually
get one-year people?
we have quite a bit of endowed. We have a big chunk of our money that is endowed, so that will live on forever. But really, only about $12,000 every year is given out from those endowed amounts.
Okay.
Everything else is just annual contributions that we
Okay.
get from people. We kind of talk a little bit about these endowments. The endowments can be as little as as $2,000, $2,500. I mean, we work with you. That can be money that lives on forever then. Or it could be like a term endowment. Some people are just like, kind of for the next 5 years, I want this to be something, but then after the 5 years, we're good.
Yeah.
So we have some type of term endowments where you give out $1,000 for the next 5 years and your $5,000 is done. Some people just contribute annually. I send them their letter, they send back their check, and it's just given out yearly.
Sure.
And that's it. So as far as the donations go, we do really try to work with the donors, figure out, do you have any criteria? That's a big one. Is, you want to donate your money, who do you want to see it go to?
Yeah.
So we get the criteria from them as to the type of student, and then we also ask them, if we don't have a student that fits that criteria, then what do you want to have happen? Do you still want it given out? Do you want us to hold it for the next year? So there's quite a bit of information we get from each donor, and every single donor is different.
Yeah.
So
Let's say, and it sounds like you have a lot of people that have already donated. Let's say someone new wanted to donate. What is the process for them, Angie?
typically they reach out to me. I'll meet with them, whether it's over the phone or in person, and they'll kind of tell me what they're thinking for a donation, but I really truly, there's not one size fits all. I really try to get down to the bottom of what their vision is for it, because if they say they want it to live on forever, then we know it's going to be an endowment. If they're just not quite sure, maybe it's, let's take the money, let's give you some different examples, here's the booklet of what other people have done, and then they can kind of think it over from there. But we really do try to cater to each donor as to what their vision is for that money.
Yeah, I think it seemed like a lot of we had several teachers die, or school people, and all of them had an endowed scholarship. In those days, $2,000 would give you enough interest, because they gave $250 scholarships. I don't know if you still go that far down or not, but and there were some years where the interest was terrible. I mean, the country was crashing,
Yes.
and so the interest wasn't there, and so they would put 2 or 3 together and try to make a scholarship. And
Sure.
but
We've been pretty fortunate these last 5 years where interest has been doing fairly
Yeah.
well. $100 is the minimum for a scholarship to give out. We will accept less than that too. So we have, somebody wants to donate just to the program in general, we'll lump money together, and that goes out in a citizen's scholarship.
Sure.
So you can donate $1 up to however much you want. If it's at least a minimum of 100, then you can decide whether you want it to be in your name, like an actual scholarship under your name. It could be a scholarship in memory of someone. It can be whatever you want your scholarship to be named, or it could go into that citizen scholarship and lumped in with the other money.
yeah.
I never should have written all this down. You're doing great.
The money portion is kind of, we have the school portion. Mr. Ray and Kristen do a great job with the students. So we have the school portion. And then when we meet as a committee to divvy out the scholarship, the people on the finance side don't know the students. So it's really a group effort, just trying to figure out who the student is. And then when I meet with the donors, I have the money part of it. So I meet with the donors and really get to know them. Then I can just go and be like, this is kind of what they want to see. This is the criteria. So we
Yeah.
just kind of all come together and hopefully fit them together.
Yeah,
So.
well, that's nice.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the students. So after they go to the ceremony, receive their scholarships, thank the donor. They have to do something in the summer, don't they? They used to have to do something in the summer.
They send a thank you to the donor, and then they have to work the funnel cake stand at Farmers Day. So that's really the only outside event that we have going right at the moment. Never really have done any other activities or anything like that, like the telethon back in the day. So, but yeah, they do all sign up for the funnel cake stand.
They have to bring a parent with them, I think, too, don't they?
I think
Yeah.
they do. It's one parent and one student.
Yeah.
Yep, they all have to sign up. So,
Yeah, and-
and the school takes care of the sign-ups. They make sure everybody does sign up. So,
Is the funnel cake stand, is it Dollars for Scholars, is that the beneficiary of the funnel cake stand?
Farmers Day makes a donation. They have a scholarship, right? But they make a donation every year to Dollars for Scholars. That's the deal I think they set up way at the beginning, is that we'll give a donation, but we need some workers at the funnel cake booth. And so it's still going on. And it really helps, because it's hard to get helpers for the funnel karaoke booth. Without those kids and their parents, we'd be in bad shape down there. So actually, it's probably good for kids to have an opportunity to do something like that too, because volunteers make the world work in this country.
Yes, indeed.
And
Truly does.
they might as well get a little start at it and just see how much an impact they can have. And so, you know, the national organization, do they do something for you, or?
So they house like the whole website. So they give us a lot of resources. They help fill out our tax forms and that kind of stuff that we have to do. And then I have to do a financial report by March of every year. And so they are just kind of there for that accountability as well, to help us with our taxes and make sure everything is the way it should be.
Okay.
But within their website, they have a lot of different resources, you know, access to the logos, and they have a bunch of different, I think it's like the Dollars for Scholars connections. You can kind of log into kind of something like this, you know, just chat with other people that do Dollars for Scholars programs, you know, if you want to. So a lot of different resources they offer.
Yeah. No, I've always felt it was just a wonderful program for kids. And
You mentioned Sparky DuRoe, and there are many scholarships. Would you like to mention any other people and any other groups that donate?
There are quite a few businesses in our area. Name a business, they probably donate more of an annual contribution. A lot of, like you said, our endowments are a lot of those teachers past, you know.
well, Jane Long was the high
Jane
school.
Long, we still have that one.
And Orpha
Kathy
Fisher?
Schutte, Orpha Fisher.
Okay, good.
Yep, all
Yeah.
of those different ones. Earl Stewart, we got one for Earl
Oh, I bet,
Stewart.
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then we have a lot of newer ones. I'm just trying to think. I mean, think of any businesses, you know, Farmers Mutual or Heartland Technology and Innovative Wealth, and you know, Dustin Bain gives a scholarship. I mean, any business in town, typically all of them do give.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, scholarships.
Yeah.
So, and then the Booster Club, the Student Union always gives. So a lot of those different school programs also give a scholarship.
So,
Some classes too, right? Like the
We do have, so Canon McIntosh, he was a kindergartner that had passed away. So there's actually, their class contributed money to the family.
yeah.
And the family then turned it over to us for a scholarship. So
cool.
yeah. So we give a Canon McIntosh scholarship every year, and then once it comes to his class of graduating, then the rest of the money will go out.
The Romans believed as long as your name lived, you lived. You know, and so that's good. That's neat.
Yeah.
Mark, I see you have a number of notes there.
Yes.
What else would you like to share?
Well, I don't know where the redundancy would happen here. Angie did a great job covering the various ways that a person could contribute, because you don't have to be just a business to contribute. Any person, any private citizen, any group of people can donate and become part of us. Before I give my spiel here, then another spiel for you. All accounts are managed by Innovative Wealth Management in Jesup. So all accounts and endowments are managed by them. As Angie was saying, one way that a person could donate would be through what is called a term endowment. You could name this after yourself, or for a loved one, or for an organization. This is where you give any sum of money you choose, and it will be distributed over a fixed period of time until all the money is gone. For example, a $500 donation given out over 5 years at $100 a pop.
We did that for a while. For a friend of ours died, and we did a scholarship. I think it was for 5 years with money that she had left.
A second option would be an endowment, which also could be named for the individual donor or anyone of their choosing, or an organization, which has a minimum donation of $2,500 or starting, but you could give that or more than that. And how that works, only the interest on that money is distributed every year. So the principal that you give, it stays, and it just keeps accumulating interest every year, and whatever interest it gets, we meet it out. And as she said, about $12,000 that we give out every year right now is just in endowments. So that's nice. We can always
So you're going to have
do more.
88,000 then from other sources this year.
Correct.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I'll
a lot
trust
of
your
money.
math.
Yeah.
It's late, and I teach English, so
Isn't it 88 Plus 12?
Yes, yes, it is. Well done.
He was looking at me like, okay. Yeah, I just say that's an amazing amount of money to come out of the community for this. So
Yeah. We have another really cool scholarship, the Coach Larry Baldwin Scholarship. Some of his past student athletes actually came together. There's a Facebook page for that, and they started it up, started giving money towards it, and now it's turned into this really cool endowment, so.
And he didn't have to die, did he?
No, right, exactly.
That's amazing, yes.
You sound disappointed.
Well, everybody else had to die before they got a scholarship, but Larry gets
There's a couple, two individuals that are the main funders of that, and just back in the, gosh, if they're listening, I'll feel bad, but I think they're back in the late 80s when they were, his players or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really cool getting to know the donors and their families and their stories, and it's been a really, really cool experience.
Yeah.
That is neat. Is there anything we're leaving out here that we need to ask?
Well, I'm not through with the spiel.
Please continue.
So here's another.
Spiel away.
I'm getting paid for every time I say that word. Another option for an individual who wishes to donate. It could be a one-time donation, a range from a minimum of $100 to a maximum of $2,500, and that would just be a one-time disbursement. And then last, the fourth option, a citizen scholarship. As Angie has already pointed out, this is any amount of money that a person wishes to donate. They don't got to break the bank. Just check the couch cushions and whatever's there.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, donate that. For as little amount as you choose, all the way up to however maximum amount you want. Go for go big, why not? And all of that money is distributed. All of it is just pooled together. If an individual, however, would like to be recognized in the Dollars for Scholars program on scholarship night when we give it out, then a minimum donation of $100 would be required if they wanted that recognition and their name in the program. Otherwise, if they didn't want to, then they don't have to give that much, but as much as they would choose.
Is it difficult to figure out how much students get? The breakdown. Is it tough to figure out the breakdown?
It can be a challenge, but as Angie said, many of these scholarships kind of have some stipulations, I guess you would say.
There's stipulations, but within the website that they use, there's also kind of a, scoring system. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that scoring system. The financial part of it, we're not kind of into that scoring system. That's just more the school part of it. But the website, does a really good job of kind of figuring a bunch of that stuff up. And Mr. Ray and Miss Bauer do a really good job of figuring that stuff up too. So when we come to the meeting of dispersing the scholarships, we kind of have a pretty good idea of how things are going to go, I guess, for each student.
Oh, good.
So I know some were they wanted a student that was going to major in elementary education, for example, to get a certain scholarship and those kinds of things, where they were looking at. They realized that kids change majors and this sort of thing, but they kind of were looking for somebody in a certain field sometimes to in the trades, or when Elson had the building
industrial tech.
And that sort of thing. And then there were kids that got that went on to study industrial tech. I know at UNI, and he had guys get scholarships. I mean, sometimes people would come and say, we had a full ride scholarship for somebody in industrial tech at UNI because of that program. And so they were at the Dollars for Scholars meeting also, which is always, because sometimes the military guys would be there if they had somebody going in, and different universities would be there if they had people going. They got certain kind of scholarships. And so wonderful programming, and kids do need help with this. And so,
not every community is fortunate enough to have something like this. Certainly not when I was growing up.
Yeah, and they talk about people going more into the trades now. If you were going to Hawkeye to study to be a plumber or a welder, that still works, right?
Still
for your group? Yeah,
and
correct.
Actually, we do have students that are going into the military, where maybe their schooling is paid for, or maybe they're just not going to college right away.
Yeah.
The students do have up to 5 years to claim the money. We have had students too that haven't met that minimum GPA of 2.5 their first semester.
Yeah.
Still okay. You have additional semesters of college. If you don't want to use it your first semester, because maybe you did get quite a few grants or scholarships.
Sure.
save it for your second or your third. But we'll keep that money and manage that money for up to 5 years.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I keep thinking you save money if they had to hit 2.5 on the nose to get the money. See, that would
You're
be,
too smart.
That would
Sorry.
be
You
interesting.
blew it, smarty pants.
So,
So about doing math, I'd say, okay, what do I have to take in this class so I can? Yeah, okay.
so let's remind our listeners here, where can they learn more about this online?
We're currently trying to revamp our website a little bit. It's not the best website, so if we could get any help on the maybe marketing website side, we'll take any help we can get. All of us are all kind of volunteer with all full-time jobs as well, so kind of balancing that a little. I would say the best thing is reach out to the school, one of our committee members, reach out to myself. We would be able to give you any information, but we do have a website, the Jesup Dollars for Scholars. Just search it up and you can find it and get some contact information from there.
Is there any other way you get word out to the community about your program?
We're trying to figure that out right now.
Okay.
Just different ways that we can get the word out. So this was one thing that came up, hopefully reaching a different audience than what we've tried before. But it's just kind of hard, to try to figure out how to reach all of the different people. It seems like a lot of people that have been donating is in memory of somebody that has passed. I'd like to say that's then maybe an older generation. Well, how do you reach the older generation?
Yeah.
Right.
They might not be on Facebook. We don't have the newspaper here in town anymore, so there will be a newspaper article in the Independence paper.
Oh, good.
At some point, and just trying to potentially get on the news or
Well, sure.
some other different things.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any ideas, and if anybody would be like to join, we would take any help we can get.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Angie Sabers and Mark Strabala, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it a great deal.
All right, thank you. This is T. Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and we're coming to you from Cowork 591 Studios, beautiful downtown Jesup. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Another sponsor who's been with us since inception, basically, is Derek's Repair, located in Jesup, Iowa. Contact Derek Marty for your car repair needs. Dale, let's talk a little bit about the political landscape today.
Okay.
It was yesterday, actually. Pete Hegseth was grilled in front of the legislators.
Yeah.
How'd you feel that went?
Well, it went pretty well for him, I thought. One senator asked him how many push-ups he could do. Okay, I don't understand that or anything, but I think it was on another show talking about where someone else has come forward and said that they were meeting him for breakfast, and he suggested that they go across the street to a bar. This is 10 o'clock in the morning, and the guy had 3 gin and tonics for breakfast. And so I think it's the alcohol that maybe is the worst thing that they're looking at, and he has promised to not drink a drop of anything while he's Secretary of Defense. Anybody who knows anything about Alcoholics Anonymous, they will say anything.
Yeah.
It's promises they can't keep. And I'm not saying he's an alcoholic. I'm just saying people who make promises about drinking many times don't keep them. And it's also that the CEO of a couple of different veterans groups that ran out of money or that had a tough time financially, probably because of mismanagement or not managing enough for this sort of thing. And so that may be something. So it'll be interesting to see. They're all looking at Joni Ernst to what she's going to do, the Iowa senator, because she is a veteran and a woman, and he has made comments about women in the military and as far as what jobs they could do and not do. And so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It just seems to me like there's got to be somebody better that doesn't have all this baggage.
It is. I listened to a podcast by the New York Times this morning, and they talked about him, and it was party line. The Republicans asked questions such as, how big a magazine that fits in the M16 and things like that.
Oh, did they really?
And and their argument is, you know the military. You should know it. You're a military man. You
Yeah.
should know that as far as head of the Department of Defense. But then the Democrats got after him about what you were talking about, including his divorces, including having a child out of wedlock,
Yeah.
his drinking problems, taking a staff of one of those organizations to a gentleman's club.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, it's down to Joni Ernst, and I listened to Joni Ernst a little bit on this podcast, and she said she's had a lot of heart-to-hearts with him and long talks with him, and he said they have. And remember, she wasn't only in the military. I believe they were the same rank in the military, both majors, I believe.
Okay, I don't know that. But,
But also she was sexually abused in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the issues that frightens the Democrats.
Yeah.
Like you say, if she's comfortable with them and all the Republicans on the committee, on the, the Defense Committee, I believe.
yeah, I'm not sure what its proper name is, but it's Armed Forces or something committee. Because if they give him a positive vote, then it'd be hard for the whole body to not go along with him, I think.
So
Trump wants him, and they're not anxious to go against him. It'll be interesting to see, but I think we're in for interesting times. But there's millions of people work for the Department of Defense, as far as military and civilian contractors and all this other thing. This guy has almost zero management experience in managing something that huge, and so I don't know. It makes you wonder what they're all thinking.
Yeah, and if you look at and I have experience in a school like you do. You have the superintendent, and then you have his cabinet, the principals, the athletic director, the building care director, the transportation director.
Yeah.
You have those. So I'm sure he is arguing. I have all sorts of people below me that run it. I will not make everyday decisions.
Yeah, it'd be impossible to.
Yeah.
Now, as leader, you have to have people that you trust, and you have to trust them to do the job they're supposed to do. Because if you get in there and meddle, that's why you talk about Jimmy Carter last week, but one of the problems Jimmy Carter had was that he ended up making schedules for people to use the White House tennis court. I remember back when that his people were squabbling over that kind of thing, and so he had to make out a schedule, and that's not what the president should be using his time for. But he had to micromanage, and anytime you get into that, then you're in you're in an impossible situation, even like in a school district. If the superintendent's if he's the elementary principal and the high school principal doing their jobs because he doesn't like the way they're doing them, then he's in trouble. He or she is in trouble.
And I hope that Mr. Egseth doesn't end up micromanaging.
Yeah.
The Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Dale, what do you have for local news?
Well, a little bit of local news. We're back into the basketball is the big thing going on. And on the 20th, which is today, right? They're playing Sumner Fredericksburg up at school, boys and girls. And on the 24th, later on in the week, Union is coming to town. And then the boys have a game on their own at Vinton-Shellsburg on Monday the 27th. But then both boys and girls play again on the 28th of January. And boy, the season's almost over. I mean, there's not many games left. If you start looking at the schedule, like the 17th of February is when the district starts.
It is.
For the boys, and the regionals, they call them regionals. For the girls, is February 15th. And so you look, after this week, there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more games. And so time goes by awful fast.
It does.
It really does. And so I was going to talk about, and it's kind of, the Dollars for Scholars are talking about endowment programs. Well, the library has an endowment program also.
Oh, really?
And it was interesting because I had this thing, the endowment is a gift that keeps on giving, and that's what Angie said.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh man. But the library has an endowment program, and if you're like, make a gift to the library, it is a gift that keeps on giving because the money goes into the endowment. It's just the interest that they spend every year. And so it's sort of like Dollars for Scholars, they just spend the interest. And so if you're looking to donate more towards the library, they have an endowment program. You can buy a book or whatever, but if you also want that money to go on forever and ever, well, the endowment program is the way to go. And I also want to talk about co-work here. Well, I'll just do the library real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Sure.
All right. Today is the day that we're having our book talk. Have you got the book read?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. Very interesting, isn't it?
It is brilliant.
It's called Zero Fail, Carol, The Rise and Fall of the Secret Service by Carol, and I'm going to say Liaoning. And even if you're not going to come to the book chat, you should get this book and read it because it's really very, very interesting and also scary, don't you think? Just the things you do not know about the people representing you, President, and would not be, I know, I have a friend whose son is in the Secret Service, and he's talking about getting out because he has no home time. He's not seeing his child very much and is looking to go into another government job instead because you get, and these people are working full schedule, and most of them are working their days off also because there's just not enough of them, and more people are requiring attention all the time, protection. And the Trump family is huge, you know.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of them just to work with the Trump family.
It
and
does.
he goes a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's, I don't remember the number, but how much it cost, like maybe $3 million every weekend he goes to Mar-a-Lago as far as for protection and all the different people involved with that, because people have to go in front of and get everything in place, the security wise. Then you got all the agents that go with the president and have to be there. And I can't get, I was listening to the radio today and Donald Trump came on and was advertising where you could buy a Donald Trump wristwatch.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, you know,
well,
he's not president yet, you know, so I suppose it's not unethical or whatever. It just seems strange to me that he's doing this kind of, because to me that's penny ante compared to all the other things that he's still trying to sell merchandise like I don't know.
Well, I'm guessing someone else is running that segment for him.
Yeah, but it had his voice though.
Yeah,
him talking, saying, "This is Donald Trump, and you buy my wristwatch and this and that." And so I'm still taken aback by that. I just think that's unbelievable. The 27th of January, they're showing a movie called Ben is Back, and it's called Julia Roberts and Lucas Hedges. And Julia Roberts is a big star. They always have free admission and free popcorn.
Have you ever gone to one of those?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the movie. And there was like 8 or 10 of us at the one I went to.
Uh-huh.
But so I have gone before, and it's the screen is big enough, and it's enjoyable, and usually there's people there that you know.
Yeah,
So you go.
yeah.
So if you ever want to go to a movie and have fun, go with a bunch of I went in El Toro. They had a huge theater, and it'd be full of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids for the most part, all men, and hooting and hollering and yelling at the screen and this sort of thing. It's the most darn fun I've ever had at the movies, and not everyone can have that experience, but it was just unbelievable. I always felt sorry for the permanent personnel that had families who would bring their young kids to the movies, you know, on base. It cost 15 cents to see the movie. So it was cheap entertainment, and so we would, if the movie was on 3 nights, we'd go every night, you know, because nothing else to do, and it cost 15 cents. You could borrow 15 pennies from somebody,
right.
But unbelievable how much fun it was. I can't even tell you what some of the things happened because we're a family-friendly show. Exercise group, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 o'clock. I see cars down there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And this is for adults, suited for adults 55 plus, and it's for beginner-friendly strength, mobility, and balance workouts. And balance is so important to older people. And you ever had any trouble with balance? Or?
I did. I had some surgery a couple years ago, and I went through some balance problems.
Yeah.
And I've been actually doing, and we talked about this on the last podcast. I've been doing that. What did you call this? The
Tai Chi.
The Tai Chi.
Yeah, that's another thing coming up.
Yeah, the Tai Chi, and the Tai Chi has actually helped my balance.
Okay, well, those classes are coming too. So the Tai Chi workouts he's talking about are starting January 22nd at 9 o'clock, and it's Missy Anders of the Northeast Iowa Area Agency on Aging, and they're Tai Chi exercises. And my wife has done those before also, and enjoyed them. They're going to be on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 a.m., starting January 22nd and running through March 19th. So about a couple months there.
You know, we have a lot going on in Buchanan County and in Jesup. We have, at the same time at 9 o'clock, there is water aerobics over at the Buchanan County Health Center.
Oh, sure.
Which a lot of people from Jesup go over to.
Yep, I have seen them over there and talked to them. Crochet workshop You interested in crocheting?
No, sir.
You're supposed to be. January 20th at 10 o'clock. They're crochet sessions to learn basic stitches and create handmade items for beginners and enthusiasts alike. And so, heard a story about a businessman, and he was a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure in his work, and so his doctor told him to take up a hobby like crocheting. And so at his lunch hour, he would come home and he'd sit on his couch and he would knit. And he didn't want anybody to see him in there doing that, so he would close all the blinds and pull all the curtains. And his wife said, "Well, Charlie, what will the neighbors think?" And he says, "I'd rather have them think that than thinking I was sitting here knitting." So, a seed swap. A lot of us have packages of seeds if you're a gardener, half packages and this sort of thing. And so they're having a seed swap. You can bring your extra seeds in and maybe swap with someone who has things that you need. Habitat for Humanity, the Habitat Chat, January 28th, coming up at 6 o'clock. And they'll discuss options and opportunities in our community for homeowners. And so it's a come and go event. So that's in the library. I was going to talk about, we talked about this last week. There's reheat and ready to eat meals. And they're made by a lady named Bridget Maroney. And if you order these meals online at homemadecatering.net, you can pick them up here at the 591. It's a pickup area for them. So I looked them up online, and for the week of the 13th, they had three. They had ham balls and mashed potatoes you could get, or you could get grilled chicken pasta salad, or butternut squash, sausage, and tortellini soup.
Oh, okay.
And so I looked up the ham balls and mashed potatoes. The single meal was like $11. You get a double meal for $21, and they have family of four option for $42. So you figure you're getting something for like about $10 a piece,
Yep.
$10 a serving. So not terribly bad. And you can order those online and then pick them up here at 591. I was going to ask her if anybody participated, and then I forgot to do that before she left for Kelly. And so
I've had Bridget's food before. She the Steve Brown Arts Center used her on an event out at the Frank Lloyd Wright House.
Oh, okay.
Out by Quasqueton, and Bridget is amazing.
Yeah.
And she uses very fresh food. She uses and her food tastes good. So I would not hesitate to use Bridget.
Okay. Well, we should order sometime.
Yeah.
Pick it up down here and see what it's like.
So what nights of the week are those?
It's there. If you order before Sunday at 5, you can pick them up on Tuesday. So it's just one day.
One day a week.
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, you can pick them up in Independence someplace too. It says on the website, if Independence is handier for you, they have a shorter window. They just call you when it's ready.
Okay.
That's the way I understand it. But the ones here, you have from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon to get them.
Oh.
And these are just they're homemade, and then you heat them yourself, eat them, and so.
Right.
And like we said, about $10 a serving looks like. And
Yes.
the soup was $8, and so. And I don't know if it would just give me that week. It wouldn't let me go to the next week to see what was coming up. And so so that's kind of, and I was, as personal item, a couple of things. I was trying to register for some event, and they wanted to know your personal information.
Yep.
Your birthday.
Right.
They don't let you put your birthday. You have to scroll to find your year.
Oh.
Took forever. I thought, man, there's got to be a better way for them to do this. And also, I find this very interesting. Like Angie talked about endowment,
Yes.
and I was going to talk about the library endowment tonight. Well, today I'm getting my hair cut, and I always talk. It's a lady barber. Most of her clients are women, and she's interesting and she was talking about eyebrows, and how women want to get those eyebrows so they're exactly the same. And she said, I tell them that their eyebrows are sisters, but they're not twins, meaning they're not going to be exactly the same, and they're not the same. And so I thought, I thought that was very interesting. I go to Cedar Falls. I'm on my way home listening stand-up comedians on the radio, and the one lady talks about eyebrows being sisters but not twins. And I thought, what are the odds of that coming up within half hour or so?
No kidding.
Something I never heard before. Two different people. I just thought that happens all the time.
So
it's just very interesting.
Dale, have you ever shaved your eyebrows
I
off?
don't shave anything except my chin and my neck. No, I've never shaved below my face or anything. And I know there are people that do lower body trimming, and I've never done that either. And so if you take showers in high school, or you're in the military, you go to college where they have the mass gang bathrooms and bathing
Right.
showers. And so you see a lot of hairy men. You think, holy cow, unbelievable the hair that some people have. Well, I'm not, I don't have that much hair. But
Yeah.
there are some people where it's like, it'd be like petting a horse. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much hair they have on their back. And so, but and again, it's sort of like being left-handed or anything else. It's in your brain, it's your body, and that's the way your cells got put together, and nothing you can do. But I would think that this is interesting because talking with the lady that cuts my hair, and she's talking about nose hair. We're talking about ear hair and nose hair, and she said some people have asked her to put wax on their ear hairs and then pull them out by the roots. And I said, oh, that didn't sound very good. But also, you can do that sort of thing with nose hairs. And I thought, oh man, if you ever pulled a nose hair or got it caught, and just the tears just spring to your eyes because of that. And I thought, oh man, I don't think I could do that either. So anyway, that's kind of the news. I have one more little thing I can do later on. Okay.
All right. Thank you. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. So I have something I want to talk about. I was at a basketball game recently. I try to get to a game at least every Tuesday and Friday. This week, I am going tomorrow to the Jesup Sumner Fred game, and then Thursday I'm going to the Wapsie Sumner Fred game. I have a friend, former resident Steve Crawford, that teaches at Sumner Fred, and he's coming to Jesup, and he wanted me to meet him in Wapsie, and Wapsie is very close to my home. Then, and so I go to at least 2 games a week. And recently I saw a referee stop a game and throw out a fan. And
okay.
It was.
Had you ever seen that before?
Well, I had seen a referee tell the athletic director to do it, but this particular referee turned right to the gentleman. He was right behind him and blew his whistle and threw him out. And to the man's credit, he got up and he was still talking, and he left. To his credit, I'm sure he felt guilty, but then the athletic director came and made sure that he left. I want to talk tonight a little bit about some tips for being a good sport as far as a parent is concerned. And that particular man had a child that was playing that night. And I wanted to make sure I want to talk a little bit about it. The first one is to be a positive role model, not only for your child, but for others around you. Show your child good sportsmanship and respect for other people. The second one is support the coach. Treat the coach as an ally and support the coach's decision. You may not like it, but that coach has anywhere from 10 to 30 people that they have to make decisions for. Offer feedback to your child. Focus on effort, attitude, good sportsmanship, and rather than the outcome. Don't talk about how well they played. There's 3 things that I always advise my parents to do with their kids. And a lot of my players would ride home with their parents. Now I was told the parents to first ask their child, are they okay? Are they hurt? Do they need ice? Do they need anything? Second is, are they hungry? A lot of athletes don't eat before the game. And they need to eat. And third thing is, did they have fun? If you ask those 3 things, you're being a good parent. So offer that is a good way to offer feedback. Encourage your child to communicate with the coach. What a great way to teach your child to be an adult is to have them talk to other adults. that are making decisions in their life. They're, I mean, not to call coaches their bosses, but they are an authority figure in their life. They need to learn to talk to their coaches. Emphasize enjoyment. Make sure that your child is having fun. Not only fun, but as they develop, they should be having fun as well. Let your child drive their own motivation. Don't be their motivator, because your child should want to be there. Be supportive of your child's peers. Don't only cheer for your child, cheer for your child's friends as well.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. Practice with your child. Good sportsmanship is a process of habits, conversations, and lessons learned. It is. Just practice good things with your child. Give your child unconditional love. There's going to be times that your child may do something that you may think you look bad.
Yeah.
But you don't look bad.
Yeah.
We have too big of ego. It's not about us. It is the child. So give your child unconditional love when it comes to their action. You can talk to them afterwards, but make sure they still love you, or that you still love them.
Yeah.
And lastly, build character traits. Help your child develop character traits like commitment, confidence, resilience, hard work, and dedication. Make sure, like one of the soft core lessons that schools are trying to teach is be to work every day. And what a better place than a practice to learn to be a practice every day. Be your work every day.
Yeah.
So those are some tips of being a good sports parent.
Yeah, and it's hard. Even when I remember Larry Baldwin was the coach, and my kids were in elementary school, and we would have these. They were fundraisers. They had 2-day Saturday, Sunday tournaments up there. 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds, and lots of teams coming in. They all paid a little fee to come, and then you had the concession stands, and so it was a real good fundraiser for the athletic department, and had a lot of good basketball for these kids. The first year we did it, he started with high school players refereeing the games, and the parents were into it so badly that he changed that, and he had adults refereeing the games, and it made a big difference in the crowd as far as what they were yelling, missed calls and all this kind of thing. And also Baldwin put into the program, he said that our officials are volunteers, and he said, do not be yelling at our volunteer officials unless you're prepared to blow the whistle yourself.
Yes.
Meaning you want to get out there and do it. And I think that helped also. But there are some times where games are going on where the parents will get into it. You want your kid to win, to have the winning experience so badly that you do and say things you shouldn't say. And and I think your suggestions for them are very good, because it's about the kid, it's not about you.
Yeah.
But the older you get, I played baseball a lot of years, but as I get older, I never struck out, never made an error. All I remember is the times that I was successful. And there's a lot of people in the stands now that feel like they would never make a mistake. They never made any mistakes. They could shoot a basket every time. You tend to block out the bad things and remember the times you were successful. And kids in basketball, they're going to miss a lot of baskets. The best basketball players in the world miss a lot of baskets, and that's part of it. You got to. Some days they'll make 4 or 5 in a row, and other days they can't even hit the bankboard. And so it's just something that you have to. That's just the game. And if you're going to play, you have to realize that those are going to happen. If you're going to let your kid play, you got to realize, like you say, if they're having fun playing, that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's right. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Dale, would you call yourself an organized person?
I think for the most part, there are times when I'm unorganized, but for the most part, I'm an organized person.
So let's go back, all your life to now. Are you a clock watcher? Let's start with that. Are you a clock watcher?
I was a clock watcher when I had to know what time it was. Okay, like when you're teaching elementary school and you have a schedule, you have recess, you have this, you have kids got to go here, there. You need to watch the clock. You need to know what time it is. But for the most part, I was prepared to work until the person I was working for said we could quit.
Yep.
And I never said, it's 5 o'clock, I'm done. If they wanted to keep working, I kept working.
Yep.
And so yeah. So I guess I'm not terribly a clock watcher.
Yeah. Do you keep a calendar now? Do you have all your events written down at home?
We have a calendar. It's a whiteboard, and so my wife and I sit down once a month, first of the month, and we wipe it off clean, and we fill in all the little things that we have coming up that month that we know about, so we don't forget to go. And so my biggest thing is to remember to go in every morning and look at the calendar. And so, but yeah, if I almost have to write it down or I will forget. So I have to have it somewhere, and the calendar works really well for me. I never used to do it that way, but these last several years we keep this calendar. Yeah, and it does help.
I am real. As I get older, I write everything down.
Yeah.
Because I'll forget.
Yeah.
I forget where my phone is right now. I'm sure the audience is seeing me going like this. I can't find my phone right now.
Yeah.
If you've seen my phone, call 319-290-0241, and I will not answer it.
Yeah.
So
you really have lost your phone?
It's hopefully it's out in the car.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because it's not in here.
Yeah.
So Dale, I've heard a rumor that Iowa's trying to buy Minnesota. Can you help me with that?
I can. It's so interesting because last week we talked about President Trump talking about taking over Greenland. And this is what I do. I don't prepare a lot. I just read the paper and find things that are interesting to me and bring them here. But there's an Iowa senator that's in Des Moines Register. His name is Bousselot, I'm guessing. Bousselot. But this is a Iowa Republican senator, and he is introducing a bill that would allow Iowa to buy 9 southern counties from Minnesota, that bottom tier across Minnesota. Now, there's the old joke that if the bottom tier of counties in Iowa would become part of Missouri, that both states would have their IQ scores go up. They're not talking about it. This guy says that he wants to propose that we enter into negotiations with Minnesota to buy the bottom tier counties. And he said our new Iowans then would have lower income taxes, lower sales taxes, lower business taxes, and liberal state to the north, farm-friendly state, and a better managed state. This is something where we can grow Iowa. We can get more investment into farmland and hog buildings and all sorts of agricultural investment, and Minnesota can get the cash that they need to operate the state in a very different way from which we go about it. In other words, they need more money because they give away more money. So our governor has declined to comment on this, which I think is interesting. But I get to the second page here. But this would add about 180,000 people to our state. With our budget surplus and the big anticipated budget deficit in Minnesota and the conservative politics of the counties in Minnesota's southern band, the purchase would make sense for all parties, he's saying. It would add about 180,000 people that would become Iowans, and they would have more money in their pocket. They could still buy Minnesota Gopher gear if they wanted to with their extra money. And he says it would be very politically sensible. And he says, I have a lot of respect for President Trump, but we were talking about buying Minnesota long before he started talking about buying Greenland. He says, I want that on the record, so it's nothing new. There's a similar bill in Indiana that would allow that state to annex neighboring Illinois County. Indiana House Bill 1008, which was unveiled on Tuesday by the House Speaker in Indiana, would create a so-called Indiana-Illinois Boundary Adjustment Commission with the goal of embracing Illinois counties that want to join low-tax, low-cost Indiana. And Indiana House Republicans have included this bill as one of their top priorities for this session. And that dozens of counties in Illinois have voted since 2020 to secede from their high-tax state. So we live in interesting times, I guess, and so it'd be interesting to see if the maps are redrawn where sailing in the Gulf of America.
Yes.
And we can go fishing in Minnesota without buying an out-of-state license.
Oh, I like that.
That would be good, and that counties in Illinois could go to Indiana and save money there. So I never thought anybody would be working on this, but apparently, and these are officials. These are government officials that have the power to bring these things up and make something happen. So it'd be interesting to see if our friends in southern Minnesota will become our new brothers here in Iowa. So
President Trump is actually being sworn in about the time that this comes out on Monday, the 20th.
Yeah.
At 10. This comes out at 10, and he's sworn in about 11 o'clock our time, noon Washington, D.C. time. So a few things here. I need help from the audience. It is one of those of you that were listening last week, I am trying to meet a new artist every month. Last week I met the artist for January. He is the new art teacher at Independence Middle School and High School. His name is Joel Wise,
Okay.
Wisner, and we are going to do a little work with him, in the pre-arrangement steps with Joel. It is his first year teaching, so he is rather busy right now.
I bet he is, yeah.
And so I don't want to put too much heat on him, but one of my intentions is to highlight his students.
Okay.
And so he was the first artist that I met for January, I'm proud to say. So 12 artists this year is my intention.
Well, you should keep a list. You should write it down.
Oh, I plan on that.
Okay.
I plan on that.
Yeah.
That's my intention. The second thing I want to talk about is Dale. If you could choose to be, who is the most famous person that you would choose to be? I mean, I'm alive right now.
Yeah.
Alive right now. Now, with fame comes responsibility.
I know.
With fame comes a lot of problems. You know,
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark is, to bloviate a little bit. Someone was arrested for harassing Caitlin Clark.
Stalking, that kind of
Stalking,
thing.
yeah. And so, she was one of the most prominent people in our country last year, but she had to deal with that, and she dealt with it like a champion.
Yeah.
And we didn't know it was going on, but it had, it's just the way things go.
Yeah.
But Dale, if you could choose
To be somebody, a famous person?
famous person.
Oh, boy. And again, this is off the wall, and I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but he was being interviewed, and he is from Canada. And as you know, the Canadian government is feeling they need to elect a new government.
Trudeau.
Yeah, Trudeau is out.
Yep.
And so this man has been the head of the Canadian Bank and also the head of the Bank of England, and very well spoken. And he was talking with Jon Stewart Monday night, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he is not necessarily a politician, but he is very interested in becoming the head of his party in Canada, and if the party gets the most votes, then he would become the prime minister.
Okay.
And I think he would be a worthy opponent to anyone in our country that decided they were going to annex Canada.
Yes.
And so I wouldn't mind that he's going to have a challenging time, I think. And he's very interested, very smart man, and so I wouldn't mind being him, even though I don't know his name.
Okay. I wouldn't mind being, he's in baseball, and I can't even remember his first name. He's from the
Yeah,
Angels.
okay.
What's his first name? Is it Steve?
No, I don't think so.
Here's maybe the greatest player up to Ohtani in the major leagues, and nobody knows it.
Has a lot of a lot of injuries the last few years.
Yeah.
Has not played many games. And so you might be in for some surgery if you take this. Is it Mike?
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout?
Yep.
Yeah, very excellent ball player.
Yep.
In the last 10 years, well, a lot of those, you're the best player in baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very few people know.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know him to see him if he walked in here.
No. And he is playing for a team that doesn't get a lot of press in this area. Anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Plays
Yeah.
for the Angels.
Yeah.
So he would be someone that
You'd be interested in
I'd be interested.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he has some interesting challenges ahead of him as he's getting, you would say, in the last third of his career,
Yeah.
right? At his age. And with the injuries he's had, it would be a challenging and interesting life to lead. So
It
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
It will. For those of you that look over my shoulder, and I don't know if the camera caught it tonight, we have some guerrilla art up. It is those of
Guerrilla
you
art.
that don't know what guerrilla art is. It is quick hit art that like guerrilla warfare.
Right.
Is what it is.
Hit and run.
Hit and run. Just to get people's attention is
Yeah.
what it is. And you go back to the man that wrote The Art of War. Was it Lao? Not Lao Tzu.
The Chinese guy.
Yeah. He taught guerrilla warfare and promoted guerrilla warfare, and
And they study his work in war colleges in West Point,
Right.
those kind of places.
yeah. And if if you look at our camera, it's the intersection right outside of Joe's Pizza, and Joe is
Independence.
Independence.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, and Joe is a kind sponsor of the Steve Brown Arts Center, and the camera faces to the southwest, so you can see the road as it is pointing toward Walmart, although you can't see all the way down to Walmart there. Or you can look down
west, yeah.
the street and go west down toward the bridge. And it is almost live. If you go on your computer, it's a little bit less than a minute apart. And I want to take this time right now to not only thank Joe, but Blake Tempus, our producer tonight. He is the man that put that up and
makes it work.
He's worked real hard on that, and we can't thank him enough for that. And so he is the artist. He is the artist of this. And it's a great picture. As clear as that is on television, I don't know if you can see it, but it's even clearer on your phone. Live 24 hours a day. It is sort of we call it like the Mustang camera instead of the Eagle camera up in Decorah.
Right.
But it is the Joe's Pizza camera is what it is.
So someday you can stand in the middle of the intersection there, and I can feed you a piece of Joe's Pizza. See.
There you go. Well, you and I will do
a dead rabbit or something. Yeah, but.
You and I will do cartwheels someday across that intersection.
Okay,
there.
all right. I won't promise.
Okay, all right. But that is
something new that we got going.
That is something new we have going. As I said, I'm trying to meet 12 artists. We are changing over at M's Coffee. Or we've actually changed over at M's Coffee from our artist in resident Richard Moore Kelly. We've taken his art down, and we are now showing the art of John Decker.
Okay.
And it's for the Valentine's Day. Started about the 14th of January, and it will go through the end of the end of February.
Okay.
So stop in at M's Coffee and see John Decker's work. He is remarkable. And also, our artist in resident Richard Moore Kelly has some art down in the art studio located down by the car wash in Jesup. So stop in there and take a look at that. I'm looking for ways for the Steve Brown Arts Center to grow. So we are open to that. And I'd like to ask if anybody has any ideas to call 319-290-0241. Hopefully I found the phone by then.
Nobody answers you. It's at the bottom of the Wapsie. So.
If you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the Steve Brown Arts Center.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@stevebrownartscenter.org or call that number. Again, it's 319-290-0241 and leave a message. Don't forget also, Dale and I were on a podcast recently. Our friend up in Fairbank, Bubba Simmons, his ad reads as follows: have you been asking what is up with something going on lately? Everyone has a story, opinions, and experiences to share, and they do that on What Is Up podcast, discussing real life with real people, the good and the bad, and highs and lows, and everything funny in between. Dale, we laughed a lot on Saturday.
It was fun, yeah. We had a lot of laughs. So
the most interesting yet entertaining podcast that makes people think, one conversation at a time. After you're done listening to us, go check out Bubba Seaman on the podcast, What Is Up?
We are so self-assured of our own goodness that we're recommending other podcasts to people now. Isn't that amazing how far we've come?
It is. But also, Bubba is reading our ad as we speak right now.
Okay, well, good for him. Okay. So anyway.
I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. And as always, thanks to Kelly Seha. She's amazing. She always greets us with a smile when we come in.
She has a new car. Yeah, so we won't tell you which one it is, but it's Italian.
Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your life. Again, Happy New Year. And how late is too late to say Happy New Year?
It's past that time, yes. You're supposed to quit, early in the, you're way over.
Okay.
Yes. People actually study that, so. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but it was nice of you to do it, though.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Remember, each day is about little victories.